One of the questions that was posted is on how to help students with word problems. Word problems, no matter if they're in kindergarten all the way up through some of my students that I have in calculus, are tough. Students really struggle with word problems. It's that idea of how do I take that important information out of the problem, transfer it into a math equation or work with the math, and then put it back into that problem. And as a matter of fact, that is one of our math practice standards, is to be able to decontextualize and recontextualize, meaning take the information out, solve it mathematically, and then put that information back into the context of the problem. So one of the things that I would really encourage you to do is to start to think about instructional routines. We oftentimes have classroom routines, we have management routines, but one of the things we often don't think about are things called instructional routines. And those are routines to help our students to learn how to think critically. And one of the ones that I like to do with story problems is just called, it's a very simple routine, it's called the 3 reads. And I tell them that you have to read something 3 times. Even as the teacher, somebody who works through these math problems all the time, when I read one story problem one time, I oftentimes can't come up with an answer without reading through multiple times. So at least 3 reads. And the 3 reads are: 1, the first read is to just get an idea of what is the problem about. Are we talking about going for a walk? Are we talking about sharing cookies? Are we talking about, in the problem I have behind me, books? So the first read is just to get an overall idea of what is the problem about. The second read is to start to look for some important information. So the second read, in elementary school, we often talk about with addition and subtraction, with totals, and with partners. So the second read is to start looking at, am I given my total or my partners? Am I given my total and one partner? What information am I given? And then the third read is to go back and pull out that information and to make your equation or their math mountain or their comparison bar or whatever it is, the strategy that they're choosing to use. And then after we're done solving the problem, even though it's not part of the 3 reads, I oftentimes tell them, go back and read the question at least again and make sure we're answering the question that they're asking. So let's take a look at this problem behind us, and let's use the 3 reads routine. So the first read is to just get an idea of the problem. The first graders came to the library and borrowed 12 books. Then the second graders came to the library and borrowed 10 books. How many books were borrowed from the library? So here I would just get an idea. My first read is, okay, I have first graders coming to borrow books from the library. I have second graders coming to borrow books from the library. So we're just really looking at the amount of books borrowed from a library. The second read, now I'm going to start to look for, am I given partners or am I given the total? What am I being asked for? So the first graders came to the library and borrowed 12 books. The second graders came to the library and borrowed 10 books. How many books were borrowed from the library? So what I would be pointing out here is that the question says how many books were borrowed. It doesn't say total books, but we can get an idea that that is looking for the total. So if I am looking for the total, I am probably given my 2 partners. So at this point, maybe you would read it again, maybe you would start to set things up and then read after we set up. I'm just going to use a math mountain just because that's one of the strategies that they work with in first grade. So I would say I'm looking for my total, which is the top of my math mountain, and I am given my partners. So my partners are 10 and 12. So that would mean I would be adding to get to the total, which in this case would be 22. So my third read might be now deciding to read it again, make sure that I have my partners in place, and what am I going to answer? What question am I answering? The first graders came to the library and borrowed 12 books. The second graders came to the library and borrowed 10 books. How many books were borrowed from the library? So now I can go back and look, does this answer my question? There were 22 books borrowed from the library. So to be honest, there is really no magical way to teach story problems or word problems. It's all about trying to get students to have that conceptual understanding. Keywords are good, but we don't want to rely solely on keywords. because sometimes they can get confusing. The word more, we always want to associate that with addition, but sometimes it could be associated with subtraction depending on the way the question is worded. The word total, we always want to associate that with looking for the total, but maybe we were given the total. So keywords can be helpful, but if we solely rely on keywords, then the students are just memorizing a process, and they're not really getting a total conceptual understanding. So that's why something like the 3 reads and going through and teaching students a routine of how to solve problems could be very helpful in the future as well. Now, they may still struggle. It may take time because we have to read the problem 3 times, but they're starting to learn a strategy of how to solve word problems as they move forward in their math career. I hope this helps a little bit with maybe how you can start tackling word problems with your students, but please reach out if you still have questions. Thank you.